Okay, so this has been in our museum display out here. I'm actually out in the building with all the bits and pieces, and a client of mine's been really eager to get a jumbo in his collection. And as you know, we're cutting back a bit in some of the bits we've got here, and this one actually came from Ross at Strictly Ham. He had this in his collection for many years, and we've had it for many years, and now it's going to be going to a mate of mine down in Gippsland, Victoria, who's going to probably have it for knowing him forever. Anyway, really quite reasonable condition jumbo. Ham International Jumbo with the CB 2781. So, of course, that means that it's got a bit of dust on it. FM, AM, USB. Sorry, I should have given this a bit of a clean up. It has literally come off the shelf after being sitting there for years. And but I thought I just wanted to put it on the analyzer, like we always do. Always like to know that everything's doing what it should do, and like a jumbo does. For the moment, I pulled the mic out. Look at that. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and look at that. Yeah, 8 watts of power. Yeah, 1, 2. I was pretty sure that was gonna work. This one's always been a good one. I think we gave it a tune when we first got it in, actually, just to sort of give a bit of what was it? It was a little bit off frequency, that's right, and that's we just sort of had to play with that a few years back. Anyway, so pretty full featured. A couple of things that really nice about them. You can sort of have your choice of, obviously 27 megs, so your station master and your beam, A and B. So that's nice to have two antennas on the rear, saves you having an external switch. And they were pretty reliable, actually. Certainly did a good job. They're pretty much the layout of them is very typical of a lot of the high-end bases, things like the high filters that you sort of didn't see so much. You could actually drop your power back on these, so you had a low power there and a high power there, obviously. And just to give you an idea, low power is around about 1.8 watts, we'll call that. And I think high power, we sort of zapped that up to about 8 watts or 9 watts or 8.5 some time ago, just playing around with this thing. Most of the controls on it are very much, similar to everything you've seen out there, in bases at least, with obviously onboard SWR meter, etc. They didn't bother with the modulation meter, which I sort of think was probably a smart idea. Half the time, you see a lot of modulation meters on the Unitons, and they only work on AM anyway, so it's sort of something that, I don't know. Anyway, now, something that's not quite so legal, and this is why these are for collectors only, is, of course, the low, medium, and high. Now, I'm on dummy load here just for ACMA, so obviously the frequency when I go to that one there is up in 10 meters, 28 megs. When I dash it down to medium, well, you'll see it's on 27.755. I'm sort of thinking there 802. Sorry, and that is because they have I'll find that in a minute. I'll show you why that is. And then there is channel 35 there exactly, and they really So this was the UK version. And obviously I'm on FM at the moment too, so that's the other thing that just to see now whether I'm going to get some volume out of this analyzer. Just let's have a look. Turn that up a bit, and 1 2 1 2 1 2. What have I got set wrong? I dashed from workshop to workshop. We've got 3 workshops on this property, and I don't get into use this one as much as I should. But I need to. I won't bother trying to work. I'll work it out in a minute. Because wouldn't mind showing you a deviation test as well. Obviously, they're all modes. So even though I'm on FM there, you've got AM there. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. And you've got upper and lower. I'll just go to lower for the moment. Oh, and indicators too, by the way. So you've got sideband indicators. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. They percolate quite well. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hello 1 2 1 2. And that's not a peak meter either. These things drive exceptionally well. So they really are a very interesting base station. Now, both that orange light there is both upper and lower, so they don't have a separate. They just say sideband. AM for the green, and the yellowy looking one is FM. So that's how they sort of designate on these things. The rest of it's pretty straightforward. You know, nice to have mic gain controls. Oh, sorry, yeah, so this is what I was going to say. This is a full active slide, -5 plus, so this can play with your frequency reading a bit depending on where you're at, etc, etc. So just remember, when you pull that out, you're getting a full ability to change the transmit frequency. So if I go to the side there and have a look at this frequency here, 27351, so if I then turn that around to around there, 354.7, and if I turn that one, there it is, around there, whoops, sorry, there, it should be about 359 or something, yeah, close on. So 5 kcs aside, that, you know, these things here will move, and ideally when you go back there, you're on your fixed frequency of 355 right on frequency. So yeah, just the things to remember with those, that you are transmit slide here, transmit and receive slide, I suppose, you know, to a certain extent. That's really what it is. You calibrate here for your SWR meter. Obviously, when you're clicked to the far left anti-clockwise position, you're just displaying an RF meter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as in 1, 2, 3, like that. So, yeah. Okay. I might even just set up a little bit of a receive signal on this for a bit of fun. Just give me a tick. Yeah, check that out. Now, that's at 0.5 a microvolt, and these CBs, don't underestimate them. They have good receivers. Now, let me just pop that up. Put a bit of signal into it. Yeah. And let me just turn that off. Oh, come on. Sorry. As I said, I'm on the wrong monitor out here. But, yeah, I'm at 0.06 of a microvolt, and I can just vaguely hear it in there still. So, yeah, they have a terrific receiver on them, these things, so they really are. And they certainly they certainly percolate okay. But obviously, you've got your RF gain control, you can cut it back with, etc. But, yeah, so look, you know what? They're a great radio. They were really nice. I always liked the fact that on the top of them, they had this block diagram. And, you know, if you ever wanted to learn how a radio works, what stage does what mixes into what, how the RF amps work, blah, 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 you know what? You could just study it on top of the radio. And this is really a great idea. I wish they did it on more radios. So this was a very well thought out design. The Ham International Jumbo is something that you do not see every day of the week. I can guarantee you that. When I got this from Ross, I knew we were getting a bit of a gem that's not going to come up very often. And look, it's time to move a few bits on, but will I miss it? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. You know, it's really is one of those radios. I wish we had an antenna out here, actually, although I've got to be honest, it's where we are, we don't hear a lot of stations unless the DX is running, so you're probably not going to hear too much. We probably, just before we send it off to my mate down in Gippsland, we just need to wipe a bit of dust off. I'm sorry about that. I normally don't do a video like that. I just realised after I put it on, I thought, oh, of course. A lot of these radios on the shelf, as you go through here, they've all got to go. We've got to clear these shelves out and fill them up with ham radio, believe it or not. We've got a bit of a different focus we want to do on these shelves anyway, for that matter. Yeah, they definitely get some dust in here. And look, this is a fully enclosed room. You know, it's a pretty high ceiling room, but you know, you wouldn't think we get as much dust as we do, but dust just permeates. You know, it just finds its way to anything, I suppose. Anyway, this is a 240 volt version too, by the way. A lot of them that came from the UK were 240 volts, so 220, 240. And I know that was a question of my friend dust. Dust. I'm thinking, gee, my goodness. Look, it's not that bad. It's just that it's, you know, as I said, I don't normally do a video with dust on it. Anyway, so that's the Ham International Jumbo. They're quite a beautiful radio, and I think anyone that has one is going to hang on to it. For what's of our circumstances, we certainly wouldn't be selling it. So there you go. Just for inquiries, look, 95% sure that this is actually sold. So look, I'll certainly put an indicator in the file if that changes for any reason, but this chap has been fairly determined to get one, and that's all right. I understand that. Look, it's going to a good home. All right, well, thanks very much for having a look at this Ham International Jumbo. I love these ones with the little CB2781 sticker. Rob Marshall, you like these. Good old VK2OMG. Oh, goodness. But nice. Hopefully we've just given you a bit of an idea what they do. What I didn't mention, the last thing to mention is, and because I haven't got a an actual, what am I saying? I haven't actually got a antenna on this, not listening to anything, which I would have picked up on. They also have a clarifier over here, and I'm just trying to remember what. Let me just have a quick play with that, because I'm trying to remember now. Hang on. Yeah, just one last thing. Yes. Now, if you've got this in that 12 o'clock position, this here is your actual clarifier to, as you can hear the clarifier going up and down there. But that's receive only. That's all that does. So, as you can see, and that just fixes there, and then basically turns it off. So, here you're only going to be able to do your TX on this side here, from what I can see. But when you come up here, TX, RX, yes. Okay, so ideally, when you pull this one out, you can adjust your TX frequency. When you pull this one out, you can adjust your RX frequency, etc. Yeah, a little bit convoluted. I sort of, when I looked at that, I thought, oh, that's right. Yeah. They did have a bit of a strange system there, which, look, I didn't mind it, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, goodness, nice. All the digits are working too, by the way. That's the other thing that's really important on these things. That you don't have a digit that's out. Look, not impossible to fix, but, they definitely... Hang on, that's definitely annoying. Anyway, all right, sorry, that was just one last point I missed that I thought I'll just mention. Apart from that, look, Noise Blanket, ANL, SWR, Cal, all very, very normal for, any radio out there. And this chap's putting a Super Sidekick on there. As you know, we sold one of the Super Sidekicks, sold for about $600. I've actually given him a bit of a deal on this one. It's our last Super Sidekick, so I gave him a deal on it, and because he's buying the radio, and I thought, all right, so a little bit less, and but he's wrapped to bits to have a Super Sidekick. It'll drive this thing beautifully. So we've got to probably wire that up to it too. That's another little job for me before this goes out. All right. Anyway, thanks very much. Sorry to extend this a little bit, but yeah, there was one last night I thought worth mentioning, and definitely great radio. 73s, all the best from VK3CM, JDW229, Tangambalanga, Northeast Victoria, Australia. Cheers all.